Welcome to What the Biz, where we talk about building successful businesses, balancing life, and all the WTB in between. With your hosts, me, Richard Pyatt.
I'm Brigette Vector.
And I'm Dan Prochko.
Big thank you for coming back and visiting with us on What the Biz. Happy that you're here with us, Dan, Brigette, and Richard. Well, welcome back. Today, we'll focus a little bit on a subject that someone suggested we talk about, which you're always welcome to do: smart ways to engage with other businesses. Hello, everybody.
Thanks, Roger. Hi.
Yeah, thanks, Roger.
I gotta say who said it. Thanks, Roger, on Facebook for proposing it. Yeah, cool. Hi, how's everybody doing?
Very good. Very good. I like this subject, actually. Not that I don't like others, but I mean, I like this one. When I saw it, I kind of like that. Oh, yeah.
It's a good one.
How y'all doing in the last couple of weeks? I had some weird things happen. I lost a couple of employees.
What?
So, yeah, I lost a couple employees.
Welcome to the boat. Pick up an oar.
I know, right? No, exactly. So, kind of interesting because in the last episode I talked about, as we talked about our achievements and everything, how didn't hit our goals because lost some clients, and it was because of that I couldn't hire someone in full time. So one, they had to go find a full time gig somewhere else because it was kind of contingent, and so we couldn't, and it felt horrible. They're a great person. They went to a great agency where they're at. They're gonna do great there, and it's a great environment. I like the team there. I'm glad it wasn't a competing agency. We're in different industries, so that's great. And so that was one reason that was kind of foreseeable. And the other one was somebody who really only did about 10 hours a week for us or whatever, and just couldn't take those hours on anymore. So now we're reworking some roles and looking into how things fit now in this new year. At the end of this month,
Do you expect to try and fill those positions?
So that's what we're exploring right now is, do we even have to rehire them? Last time talked about how we're reworking our project management and other things, and we found some efficiencies already around how our work gets done. And so we potentially don't actually need to refill, which is kind of good and bad. At least in the short term. We're refilling long term. We're growing. Are you kidding me? We have huge growth plans for this year. So we're hiring. It's just immediately right now, this minute, I don't know that we have to, which is which is more than cool, actually, because it gives us some flexibility to invest in that growth that we're going to do in the very near future, which is really cool.
Well, if you just don't have the timing gods on your side, a few clients changed, and then, the employees, they made their own decisions that this doesn't, fit with their hours, or they need full time, and that worked out very well for you. So
I think in the end, we're just lucky, because it could have been bad. Could have been lost the employee and kept all these clients and everything, and then we wouldn't have the time. And so I am so thankful we do have the time. But we may find we don't in another week, and we'll figure it out, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. We'll find somebody. It's okay. We're gonna muscle through. We're gonna make it happen. Yeah, because we've got goals this year. I mean, I didn't say exactly, last week what they are, but we want to double again. We've got a lot to do. We've got some cool programs we're working on that are more like DIY, and they're actually at the point of about, like, by the end of this quarter, we think we're going to release what it is and have it out there. And it's this scalable, standalone DIY program, which should open up a lot of potential for revenue, which is why we have such big goals of doubling.
Mm-hmm.
So
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been hard at work over here on some of our specialty projects. Really leaning into education pieces this year and the coaching. It's my true passion. So we definitely have goals centered around that. And hopefully getting at least one event a month that I get to go out and actually like teach. That's my goal. So
That's
So
so
I
awesome. That's on
I
my
don't
list down the line. So I love seeing that you're doing it. Sorry, Richard, go for it.
no, that's all right. I don't remember if you actually said fervently and out loud, Bridget, that you've really expanded the focus of your business, and that's really what you've done.
yes, very much so. I am fully leaning into coaching and training and even building up kind of like a personal brand side. So I really love helping individuals take control of their money. And that just kind of filters right into businesses taking control of their money. I believe in just money as a tool that should work for you. It shouldn't be something that somebody's afraid of. And I think financial literacy is lacking, and it isn't by anybody's fault that they don't know. They're just not taught. And so my goal this year is probably just a lot of free outreach and impacting as many people as I can in a positive way financially. And I hope it trickles into people that want to open their own businesses. And I want to give them the blueprint of exactly how to do that the right way and take that like stress off their plate of going into the unknown. So lots of things this year that I'm really excited about.
It is exciting. You said financial literacy. It reminded me of a fellow I know here in Southwest Michigan who works for a credit union, and they've developed a whole financial literacy program. And they go into a business with the business's permission, of course, and make presentations to their employees about financial literacy, and even will work with them one on one. What a marvelous program, and I expect there are others out there that do the same. For the reason you just said, somehow we don't learn this, do we?
No, it's
No,
taboo.
that
I mean, how often is it just you're not supposed to talk about
yes.
money? I mean, even growing up, my parents didn't hide it per se, and they taught me enough, but I just had a passion for it. But most households, it is taboo. You just don't talk about it. And you don't
Yeah.
talk about it with friends, and you don't talk about it with colleagues, and money is taboo, and it doesn't need to be taboo. So
Yeah. I
hopefully
uh
we
I,
can
I
break
had
that.
to exclaim, I so agree with you. I hate that it's taboo. It was always growing up, it's just like, oh, how much do you make a year? Oh, you can't ask that. It's like, what do you mean you can't ask that? I want to know whether this is a profession I want to go into. Like, one, okay, like, is it worth my time? And or like, what does it take to get to that level? Like, if you don't understand these things, how do you know how to get there? I mean, I'm not asking them how much debt they have, or like, are they like in it with the mob? I mean, I'm not like
Are you a mob boss?
yeah, I know. Or it's just like, or like, are you in debt to the mob? I know you make half a million a year, but are you taking out risky loans on the side, going to dark poker rooms in the back? I mean, it's like it's crazy. And so now, I think the last 10, 15 years, I forget what I was reading that made me think about this differently or whatever. It's like, no, I talk about it. People ask me about it. It's like, yeah, I'll tell you how our business is doing. I'll tell you where the money's at. I'll tell you what's going on. I don't have a problem with that. I may not share everything because maybe I still have some of my own embarrassing thoughts or whatever in my own brain that are irrelevant, most likely. But yeah, no, I'm much more transparent about it. Gives me a bellwether of like, am I doing things right? Not like a comparing to others. It's more like, okay, it's not like a comparison of am I better or worse or have I missed something or man, I'm not finding the right words. But it's like a bellwether of like, am I missing something on my own side that I should be paying attention to that I'm not paying attention to, like in a positive way. Like there's a yeah, that's all. Not a judgmental way is all I'm getting at. I just changed my mind about it. That's all recently. That's all.
Well, and honestly, it kind of it goes to the philosophy, and I don't know the exact statement for it, but surrounding yourself with people that have either already done it or are smarter than you. And
Oh
this
yeah.
kind of ties into our engaging with other businesses that we're going to
Yeah.
talk about today, but it's
Right.
true. If you
Yeah.
surround yourself with those that have done it, they're automatically mentors. And why would you not want to learn from those that have
Oh
done
no.
it versus those that
So
have
true.
not?
Yeah. The other
Yes.
thing that hit me was like, look, everybody's made different decisions in their lives and taken different paths. it doesn't matter that they're younger than you, making more, or older than you, or same age, or less, or in a position you wish you were at already. It's we all made different decisions that got us to where we're at. So being embarrassed about it or treating it like a faux pas money is, I think it's just the wrong mindset to have, because you're not going to change all of your decisions, and you can't anymore anyway. So, losing sleep over it just isn't worth it.
Well, and
So
there's no right or wrong. We all land where we're
that's the
supposed to
point.
land,
Yes.
and we all learn different lessons along the way that can be shared with others. So
Yes.
we're all where we're supposed to be. It's just what you do with your next step.
The first thing I was going to say was, Dan, you reminded me of that episode of The Sopranos when Tony's daughter asks him, "Are you a mob boss? Are you in the mafia?" And he has this answer where he finally lands at this point, and he says something like, "Well, some of my money comes from illegal gambling." He sort of says that. But you made me think of that when you were asking about that. The other thing I was going to say is I may be more old-fashioned than both of you about divulging such information. But in fact, I may have chastised a friend of mine who likes to ask people how much they paid for things and how much money they make. I was like, dude, don't ask that. It's private. So you're telling me I should change my thinking on that,
Yeah.
or at least think
Yes,
about
I
it.
am.
Yes.
I am hands down telling you to change your thinking about it.
The more taboo it stays, the harder it is for anybody to grow and learn. I mean,
Well,
honestly.
I think there's a point there. I do. I think talking about one's own environment, situation, etc., is a way to learn about it. So that makes sense. Well, smart ways to engage other businesses. There's kind of an interesting list here, but it does the word engage is important in all of that because we end up learning from one another, don't we?
Oh my gosh, 1,000,000%. I learn from
100%.
you guys every time we talk.
That's really sweet. That's really sweet of you to say. That's a two-way street as well, which is why I texted you when you were disconnected. Can I ask a question?
Totally.
Bridget
Okay.
had made her holiday week one was a no work zone, and here comes Richard interrupting. But yeah.
You didn't know that though when you texted, so it's totally okay.
After you told me that, I stopped and thought, oh shoot, did she tell me that? Uh-oh. If I forgot that was kind of bad. Anyway, but this may sound a little obvious, but really it's one of the things that's worked really well for me is the whole notion of networking and ways in which to do that. And there are a lot of ways to connect with other businesses that if you're not doing it, you may not know they exist.
Yeah. I'm curious how you guys find the ways to engage that are valuable, not just to you, but also to the other individuals, like what you're bringing. Have you found any great ways to find those groups?
I mean, I guess that depends on what groups we're talking about, because I find engaging with businesses, like there's varying levels to it. I mean, there's like the networking level of finding a group where it's just getting to know each other, but getting to know each other well enough to help build each other's businesses. I'm thinking like a BNI or an RBI or one of those type of networking groups. Or Rotary for that matter. What are the other ones? Like Kawani, your Chamber of Commerce, even. Like I kind of put all of those in like that networking sphere. And that's I don't know, it has its purpose, it has its uses, in terms of exactly that, networking, making new relationships. I mean, are any of you in those? Like I was in BNI forever. I know Bridget, we were in BNI together actually. Are any of you in any of those groups as well now?
Yeah, I'm in one called PFS, which is a very local one, and it's good for me. And I guess I should put a little asterisk by a lot of these, that you might find out that what's good for you is not good for somebody else or vice versa. So I guess you might have to test drive some of these,
Oh, sure.
yeah, the Professionals for Success is one that you have sort of a sector exclusive representation, so you're not going to have a competitor in it, and you meet and you network twice a month, and what really happens is folks think of you when they encounter someone who might need something that you can offer. And I think that's really the goal of all of it, right? Isn't it? To create those relationships that then can build in any of these things. You mentioned Rotary and Kiwanis. Certainly service clubs have a different intent, but they do end up with a networking component, don't they?
Mhm. Definitely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So that's one side, and those groups are definitely meant to be to help grow the business. You're going to BNI, you're going to PFS, you're going to RBI specifically for that networking. But there's also a couple other ways of engaging that I think about, is like specifically business growth, JVs or joint ventures, that's creating packages with another business, or a type of service where you both deliver service simultaneously together. That's another way to engage with the business. We have done that in the past, and at past employers of mine, we've done that. Trying to think where it's like we do, say, website development, another marketing agency does social media, and so we can put those two together into a package and both sell that package, so both of our businesses win when working together in that way. I mean, you see it a lot online with uh uh people who sell books and or events and other things, where somebody's promoting a book or an event because something's going on. There might be some kind of affiliate kickback as well, but a lot of that is considered under the joint venture umbrella, although a little bit more on a tech online side. So I mean, that's another type. Either of you explore those types of relationships at all?
I'm kind of naturally down affiliate marketing lane, not so much joint venture, but just because there's so many specific softwares that we use and recommend because it's best, that we now are kind of an affiliate marketer for those businesses. And I certainly have recommended partners that I always provide when I'm asked. Like I just have those trusted advisors, which is, it's kind of nice to have that level of engagement with businesses that you feel very good about your recommendation when somebody comes to you. And it's an added value to your existence and whoever's asking you, right? Like they're coming to you because they trust your opinion, and you're able to give them somebody else that you trust, which is why I think it's
Oh yeah.
so vital to engage with other businesses and to have that back and forth relationship. Um, Chamber wise, I actually, which is funny because we don't live in South Carolina, but I've done more with the Hilton Head Chamber than I've done with any local chambers. They have a phenomenal setup down there, and it's just very easy to get plugged in and engaged. And they are, I mean, their whole island is pretty much built on small business. So it's very encouraging to be down there sometimes to see how they run it and do it. Um, Trying to think if there's any other ways that we're actively. I know this is on my docket for this year to become much more plugged into the business community. I do a lot of masterminds, so that's probably my number one way that I'm
Masterminds, yeah.
engaged with other businesses.
I
What I love
didn't.
about masterminds is everybody's in there for a very specific reason. I mean, their reasons may all be different. It's growth related usually, and there's just this huge drive to grow. It's a lot of very, very hungry people that will join a mastermind. So you get a lot of motivated people together, and the energy is so cool. And it can be cool in a mastermind if
Oh
led
yeah.
well.
When you
It
find
really, really neat.
when you find a good mastermind, it can be astronomical, the benefits that it'll have on your business. And just the way that they can help you see through problems that you bring, or like, things that you're experiencing, and they're like, oh yeah, we saw that and we did this. And it's like, why didn't I think about it that way? Well, that's why I'm in a mastermind.
Yeah.
Just take a second, if you would, to define what a mastermind is. I think I know, but I realize I may not.
Oh my gosh, there's so many ways to define this. So I can say the masterminds that I'm part of is we've just found groups of businesses that are like-minded in either culture and in our growth, and likely they have had different experiences. And so we get together. One is a monthly mastermind, one is a bi-weekly mastermind. And we kind of follow a format where we bring all of our wins to the table, kind of our failures, if you want to call it that, and like problems that we're experiencing and kind of where we want to go. And the goal is that we kind of pick a few of the problems and work through them as a group. Like everybody gets their input and kind of walk through the things. There's also another mastermind that I'm part of that it's very focused on achieving that next goal. And every single check-in is what did we do? Did you do it? How are we getting there? And it's more of like a cheerleader group, I would say, or holding you accountable group. So there's a couple different avenues I've experienced.
Yeah, I tend to look at them as accountability groups for the most part, as well as like an informal advisory panel or advisory board, as it were. Those two kind of put together, where there's others that have experiences either same or different industry than you that you can pull from, which is what you just talked about, Brigette. And then they're also there to, on the next time you meet, be like, did you actually do it? Are you taking your business forward? Or are you not?
Yes.
It feels so bad and good at the same time when that happens, where it's like, no, I didn't. And they're like, dude, hey, what are you doing? You're letting your business down. You're letting your family down. You're letting your employees down. I mean, maybe it's not that negative. That's not the point, but it's just like, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. And it's like, oh, I better kick my butt into gear. They're intense. They can be intense.
So that reminds me, and thank you for describing that. That reminds me of a group that I belong to, which is called Hatch. I call it a an entrepreneur support group. And maybe
Totally.
others of them might not call it that, but it is very similar. And you have a group with whom you share your challenges and your successes, and they help you think it through, and they will hold you accountable if you ask them to. So very similar. So good. I'm glad I heard that description, because that was good to hear. So I forgot to say that I did. You brought up chamber, Brigette. I did join a chamber, and it was just a couple of months ago. So and they did not meet at the end of the year. So I'm just getting into it now. In fact, I have a presentation at it soon. But I look forward to those groups, and I think I would say that these all are meant to create an atmosphere where you interact and network and get to know people. And it's interesting because I heard someone say about networking that one doesn't necessarily need to expect that they'll go to one of these and turn someone they meet there into a client instantly, that it may take some time, and that we should adjust our expectations about that. And maybe that's a fair thing to consider with all of this. But nevertheless, you know someone you didn't know, and they now know you, and that puts you in their Rolodex when someone says, I need a marketing firm, or I need a business consultant, a mentor. They'll think of Dan, or they'll think of Brigette, and then they make that recommendation. And you mentioned about the joint venture thing. I have just begun to explore that with someone who offers a portion of an approach that some of my clients may want to take that I don't offer. So that, I think, is an interesting idea, to work together and recommend one another, and then maybe build business based on those connections, theirs and yours.
Yeah, one thing that we on the joint venture side have always wanted to do is create a package around like local SEO relate and has video included in it, but we're not a video agency.
Yeah.
And if you go to a video agency to get video for something like that, like 5, 6 videos with a few shorter 30 seconds, you're going to spend 4, 5, 7 grand. And it's like, okay, can we work together to create this package that's this dedicated, obvious, simple way it's all put together where our services and your video is in this and it's not costing everybody an arm and a leg? That's not me trying to get video agencies to charge less than what they're worth or under what the profit is, by all means. But can we create this thing together? Because I would sell it like wildfire. It would be crazy. But the clients we work with, they don't have 7 grand to drop. But if something could get turned into 1,500, 2 grand, oh my God, even multiple installments of it, maybe it would end up being 7. But it's like every time I've talked to video agency, here I am just complaining about them. They all look at it as this project that has to be 7, just 7. We can't break, it's maybe indicative of the industry and how video gets made. But anyway, that's I went down a whole rabbit hole there, only to kind of really want to circle around and be like, you're so right. One of the about these events and these groups, they're all about creating an environment for connection. One of the so let's not discount social media. I mean, there have been, especially because of the pandemic, there have been all of these local business groups that were created where businesses started coalescing and engaging, and they still exist. 3, 4 years later after lockdown, they're still around, and going strong. There's a lot of new people coming into them all the time with their businesses, as well as, from looking for answers, etc. So, or answers, help, promoting themselves. That's a great place to engage, be helpful. And that's the piece that I kind of wanted to say through this is you're right. If you go to these things trying to sell, not going to happen. Be there to just know people, that's to get to know them.
Sometimes just going to them provides, I'm sorry, sometimes just going to them provides an opportunity for someone to say, oh, when they meet you, they say, oh, you know what? I have some questions about that. And then it just happens organically. So you don't have to really go there with a sales mindset. Yeah. Sorry if I interrupted you.
I was going to say, you're fine. One of the ways a business that I used to work for, engaged with some friends of theirs. They had businesses in the area where they had a lot of deep connections. They did things like Office Olympics. And so it just makes me think cultural events are another way to engage with businesses in the area. Put on some kind of event, not a networking event. Maybe it's something fun, something different. I mean, even a 5K, whatever, but something that brings people together in a way that's not around business, that's not for sales, etc., that gets people to know each other. Because that's the whole point of engaging with other businesses, get to know each other, first. But those are really fun. Took part in about 2 or 3 of those while we were there, and there were 4 local businesses that all got together once a year. A different business hosted every year. So it rotated, kind of like countries host, the Olympics, and the events changed every time we did them. Everything from Nerf archery, Nerf gun archery, to roller chair races, to ping pong tourney, to other things. It was really funny and fun.
That's fun.
It was really, really, really fun. Yeah.
I think we need to have more business events that have just fun.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you say that, because I wrote down here, host an event, just in my notes. Although I admit I'm not sure I was thinking of a fun event, but an informative one. In fact, I wrote down lunch and learn. So here's where that came from. You as a business owner have a certain expertise. So what if you hosted a lunch and learn and invited 10 people to come to it and buy them a sandwich and tell them 5 things that are useful to them about your business sector, and let them ruminate on that, and maybe they come back to you and ask more questions. Maybe it sparks an inspiration that you should work together with them, but it's useful information that they can really consume and think about.
Dan and I did an event with some other business owners this last year, kind of in the same format. Let's give them value. Our our expertise for free. Like they can take nuggets that they need for their own businesses away from it. I really enjoyed that. I kind of approach anything that I'm doing in a manner of how can I give more value than what I'm getting? And I have found that by doing so, I end up getting a ton of value myself.
Mhm.
And I can't remember, there was a podcast I was listening to, and they mentioned that anytime you're at an event, make sure that you are talking the least in the room and just absorb what everybody around you is telling you, or what you'll find out about what other people know or their businesses in turn will likely help you, and it can help foster that relationship that you want to build with them, because you can follow up with an email then. So I don't know. I think just putting yourself out there to engage with other businesses and learning a great way to follow up and keep that connection is the best way to engage with others.
And somebody might ask out there, how do I find these organizations? Well, our friend Google is one way, but what about your circle of influence, people you already know, asking them how they meet people and how they engage with other businesses, and you'll probably find some answers that will lead you to some opportunities like the ones we've talked about. And maybe you already have a few. We'd be happy to hear about those by way of social media or the What the Biz website. So we invite you to share those, just like Roger did with this particular subject that we talked about today, smart ways to engage with other businesses. If you have an idea, do like Roger and share with us what you have, and you may just hear it pop up in one of these future episodes of What the Biz. Thanks for being with us, Brigette, Dan, and Richard, here on What the Biz. We'll be back again soon.